What's going on, guys? Saga Plays here, bringing at you another Innistrad Crimson Vow spoilers. This time we'll be doing the blue column of it, and I'll only be doing the rares and mythics of the blue column, because the commons and uncommons you'll be able to get those within your packs with a higher chance than the any of these other rares and mythics. And it does appear that there aren't that many compared to White, which we did Monday. But yeah, and then if you're new to the channel, welcome. Please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And pretty much what we do on the channel with the spoiler videos I do, it's all raw footage. You'll hear my hiccups and everything. I know that's like some people may prefer it, some people may not, but that's kind of how I do things. I am a college student, so I'm trying to manage my time wisely. And then these spoiler videos, I check on the spoiler site I use, which is mythicspoiler.com, and then I will look up the price on a on TCG Player to see what they're at right now. And as you can see, I was just looking up this card to add to my deck because I did look through some of these cards prior to the video. So yeah, if we check right now to see the highest price card, that would be Count Dracula, which is Soren the Mirthless. I believe that's how you pronounce it, Mirthless. I'm not too sure. Correct me on it in the description if you guys so choose to comment, which I would greatly appreciate. But yeah, I mean, 88.97. That's the highest I've seen because highest one on Monday I believe was Chandra Dressed to Kill, her borderless art at $50, which has now gone down to 41.22. I mean, yeah. All right, so let's start with Necroduality. All right, Necroduality, 3 blue enchantment, and it's whenever a non-token zombie enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Okay, so right off the bat, the second you read its description, it's what pretty much a non-zombies matter kind of, or oh no, well, scratch that, I misread it. Whenever a non-token zombie, so it's a zombies matters deck card that you would want to use. But I mean, if you have like, uh, if I remember, Masquid Nexus, I believe, uh, but it was the card in Kaldheim that allowed for all your creatures to possess all creature types. That artifact, I believe it was Masquid Nexus. I can't remember to be sure, but do believe it was that. So I mean, have that out, then it's really any creature you cast will have pretty much you will get a copy of it. Ooh, excuse me. But yeah, it's a useful spell to be on truly, especially when like you get zombie triggers that happen whenever a creature dies or whenever a creature enters the battlefield. If you want to get multiple triggers off of them, that's how Necroduality allows you to. And let's see its price point. All right, $50, pretty much $50 for the card spell's extended art, and then $30 for its normal. I would say that's fairly priced because I mean, you get a copy of a zombie, and then if you're able to recur that zombie that from your graveyard, you just get more copies of it, which is really nice because zombies. I mean, like using Liliana too, you get a horde of them, which is useful, especially since like Black Hat does have reanimation. So I mean, you would want this in like a deck, obviously a Demir if it's reanimation, because you would need the blue, or as long, because I mean, as long as it's blue plus black reanimation type deck, this would work well with it. But yeah, I believe these two price points work really well for it. All right. So that's our only mythic rare for blue. And then we'll get to the rares. And I do believe this video will be shorter than my spoiler video on the white column. And I can tell that there are some more cards added to white. I will do those in a separate video as after I get through all the columns, which I will try and do by the end of this week. So then I can more or less start adding, just do all the any other cards that added on next Monday. So Dream Chain Spirit. It's a 1 blue blue creature spirit 3/1 with flying, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose one. Tap target creature, or target creature doesn't untap during its next untap step. Okay. So I mean, this is pretty much like a stalled kind of creature where you pretty much during your when you start your combat, you tap down your opponent's more dangerous or their death touch or very more power toughness type creature, and so you can avoid it when you swing in, or if it's already tapped, you want to try and lock it down so they don't have it to use during their turn. So I mean, fairly good card per se. I won't be surprised if it's not like highly sought after. If it does have no, it does not. All right. So there's no price yet, but I would say it would be around the $5 to $15, maybe around 10. That's where Dream Spirit Dream Spirit would lie. I'm not too sure, but I do believe so. All right, Mirror Hall Mimic. It's a creature spirit, three and a blue creature spirit, 0/0. You may have Mirror Hall Mimic enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types. Disturb 3 blue. Alright. And it you trigger its disturb, it becomes Ghastly Mimicry. Enchantment aura. Enchant creature at the beginning of your upkeep. Create a token that's a copy of enchanted creature, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types. If Ghastly Mimicry would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Alright, so pretty much this spell is fairly strong with its after you cast it for its disturb cost. And then mainly because it's a token generator. You get one token each upkeep for as long as it remains on the battlefield, and you get a copy of any of your creatures. You will print if you do put a copy, equip this onto not equip, enchant this onto a legendary creature. I mean, that will only make one copy, only pretty much a copy, and then you have to pick which one to keep. So you keep the one that has the one Ghastly Mimicry enchanted onto it, sacrificing the token, but you would still get the triggers off of it, so you wouldn't miss out on that. But if you do it on a non-legendary, you can keep that copy as like a chump blocker. So, and then like if you have like Anointed Procession, I believe, from Omnicat, you get 2 copies of it each turn. You got token generator, so it works well with any kind of token deck, I believe. But depending on what creature you enchant, though. So Mirror Hall Mimic. Ooh, Mirror Hall Mimic. All right, it's $10, not bad. And then oh, let's check it for its extended art. $15, not bad. I honestly thought they would be around that kind of price range because this card, it's pretty much this card kind of matters in certain decks. Like if you're needing to generate a copy of one creature each time, or like you need one specific creature to linchpin your combo, that type of thing. So you want to have like a lot of them to be sure. Or I mean, you're trying to get triggers from ETBs like Risen Reef. Oop, sorry guys, that was a notification. But yeah, pretty much Risen Reef trigger with each elemental entering the battlefield. It triggers on in and of itself, so pretty much you want to get a creature to trigger as much as possible. But yeah, I believe that price range works for it. Patchwork Crawler. Alright. So pretty much this card would work well with the Necro Duality here, mainly because it's a zombie horror, so it does work. Let me just copy that. But Patchwork Crawler, 1 blue. Creature Zombie Horror, 1/2. It's a 1/2 creature with 2 and a blue. Exile target creature card from your graveyard and put a +1/+1 counter on Patchwork Crawler. Patchwork Crawler Patchwork Crawler has all activated abilities of all creatures exiled with it. Alright, so this is sort of like Mutate, I want to say, because like when you mutate a creature onto another creature, it gets all the creatures like under it. The creature that's on top gets all the abilities and triggers of all the creatures under it. So all its abilities do stack, but with Patchwork Crawler, you pretty much pay 2 and a blue to exile a creature from your graveyard, and it gets a +1/+1 counter plus all the abilities. So you can get if you get this guy big enough, he will be fairly powerful with all the triggers, and then you don't need like a full board state to have in order to get like a bunch of triggers to happen. You would just have him who's fully loaded with triggers, and then you play one card, one spell, one creature, permanent, whatever, and all those triggers just go off. Allow and but I mean that just depends on how long he stays on the field itself, because the second he dies, you also lose access to all the exile creatures' triggers. So he's like, you gotta keep him on the battlefield for as long as possible in order to make full use of him. But yeah, I also want to say price range for Patchwork Crawler would be around 15 or so dollars, maybe. Yeah, okay, yeah, 15, 14, 11 for its extended art. I was $1 off, but I mean, you also saw him at the beginning. As I said, I was kind of looking at him because he does fit well with my mutate deck, so I'm not too sure if I should get him. But 811 for his standard, not surprising. He's hovering around the $10, $15 range, so he may fluctuate depending on how well he is played and how demanding people would want him in their deck. So yeah, I do believe the price range for him works. All right, inspired idea. Excuse me for a sec. All right, inspired idea. A 2 and blue sorcery. Cleave cost is 3 blue, and then cleave being a new mechanic, it just remove paying the cleave cost removes the words that are in brackets. So it's draw 3 cards, and if you do pay the cleave cost, if you cast the spell for its cleave cost, you remove your max hand size is reduced by 3 for the rest of the game. That is very dangerous when it comes to those very words in brackets are very dangerous because your hand size does matter because you want to keep some cards in your hand as like your instances so you can cast them and you don't have to like pick and choose when you're down to 4 cards in hand. Excuse me. But I mean like You draw 3 cards for total of 3 CMC, but your hand size is reduced to 4, which very much sucks. But if you have like no max hand size, then that kind of doesn't matter because your hand size is infinite, but it's reduced by 3. But anything you add, subtract, multiply, or divide by infinity, it pretty much add anything to infinity, subtract anything to infinity, multiply anything to infinity, or divide by something other than infinity, it just becomes infinity because infinity is not a real number. It's infinity can be anything, so infinity just means like limitless at that point. So this is it's a good spell. I won't be surprised if it's not ranked wanted that much because it does have the drawback of your hand size is reduced by 3. So, oop, copy, ah, paste. Oh wow, 8.91. I am wrong. I was thinking more around $5. 8.91, and then 14.93 for its extended art. I mean, yeah, I mean, no, people would probably cast this for its cleave cost, mainly because they don't want to reduce their hand size by 3. But if you reduce your hand size by 3, you're kind of wanting to be desperate, or like like you're down, you need to draw a certain card in order to make a comeback or win. So you're risking your hand size in order to have a chance to draw one of your good spells in order to save you from defeat. So I mean, I guess I can see why it's at pretty much close to $9-10, but I won't be surprised if the price drops for it. But yeah, right. Next spell, we have 3 more left. Drolf, Visionary Stitcher. I believe that's how you say it. Drolf. 2 and a blue legendary creature, human wizard. Zombies you control have flying. Blue and tap. Sacrifice another non-token creature. Create a XX blue zombie creature token, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. Alright, so I'm just gonna flat out tell you, looking at the art right here, it literally reminds me of Frankenstein. I mean, literally it looks like he's trying to reanimate a corpse, which is Frankenstein. But yeah, I mean, zombies you can draw at flying, that's good. You would want him in a zombie stack because zombies with flying, that's useful. If your opponent doesn't have any creatures with flying or reach, anything with flying, very useful because you could just go in for a direct hit at their life total if they don't have a board wipe or anything that they can cast at instant speed. But yeah, and then sacrifice another non-token creature to get for a blue zombie where X is its power. So that I want to say it's like I kind of it's hard for me to put in words, but it's like you want to pick and choose what non-token creatures you sacrifice because if you want pretty much if you have like a creature that has already outlived its usefulness, you can sacrifice it to get a zombie and then the zombie has flying. So yeah, I can see, but like it's a blue and a tap, so you can only do this like once per pretty much once, and then you have to wait till your upkeep in order to trigger it again. And you want to time it right, so like you could have one of your creatures block, but before damage is dealt, sacrifice it so the creature it was blocking remains blocked, but you get a zombie token and play these. So yeah. So I mean, you just gotta like pick and choose your moments with triggering it, and then like also you want to pick and choose what creatures you want to sacrifice because it's very if you sacrifice the wrong creature, you may screw yourself over. But let's see, it's his price right now. Visionary Stitcher. All right, $10, pretty much $10, $15 for his showcase. I mean, let's just see this showcase. That reminds me of a Frankenstein. I mean, 80 black and white, like, so it reminds me of classic horror movies where it was all black and white, which made things a lot more dramatic depending on what horror movies you saw. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if his price range remains as is or drops. So I really can't say much because I would thought to you I would not run him in my deck because in my mutate deck at least because I require because none of the zombie that gets made is not also possessing the same abilities as the sacrifice creature. So you're just getting a sacrifice creature with heavy power. You just want to sacrifice a creature with more power than toughness, so that the zombie has equal power and toughness. So that's all I can say for Geralf Visionary Stitcher. But yeah, Consuming Tide. All right. Consuming Tide. 2 blue blue. Sorcery. Each player chooses a non-land permanent they control. Return all non-land permanents not chosen this way to their owner's hand. Then you draw a card for each opponent who has more cards in their hand than you. All right, so this is pretty much like a board wipe. One of the cheapest ones I've seen. I honestly want to say cheapest ones I've seen, because usually a board wipe is 5 mana or more, other than like Cyclonic Rift, which is a 1 and a blue, but everyone casts Cyclonic Rift with its overload cost in order to board wipe your opponents and not you. But Consuming Tide is a very good spell. I mean, yeah, all board wipes are pretty much at sorcery speed. Can't blame can't blame them for that. If they were at instant, it would just it would be more powerful than they should. Then it would be more powerful and useful than other cases. But yeah, I mean, Consuming Tide, very useful spell when your opponent has a giant board state and you barely have anything. Because I mean, if they have more than twice the permanents you have, you will be drawing a card in addition to having uh, all all your non-chosen permanents returned to your hand. I mean, just have a reliquary tower down, or as a land for your land within your lands, so that you don't have to discard. And then, because during your end step, you'll have to discard if you don't have something that gives you a max hand size. I would not recommend a folio of fancies for this because it also gives your opponent a max hand size, but you can also mill them out. But after you cast this, if you have 3 mana, a 2 and a blue, with foot, and you so like pretty much if you do have a folio fancies and you pretty much would want to pick it because that I mean it does allow you and your opponent to keep all the cards and none you discard, but you keep it, and if you have 3 mana, 2 and a blue out open, you can trigger the folio fancies and make them discard mill all mill cards equal to their hand size. So you allow them to stop trying to stop them from trying to draw into something that will allow them to make them win or like dump their hand onto the battlefield because once that happens they'll be trying to restore their battlefield position. So And especially if folio fancies can mill them out to nothing, that really will be helpful. But let's see the price on this. $5 for yeah, sorry. $5 for its normal, and then 7-Eleven for $7.11 for its boardless. Not surprised. I mean, it's a board wipe, but you could also end up. Oop, sorry, notification. Another notification. Wow. But yeah, it's really risky because, oh my gosh, people are very annoying. But it's very risky mainly because of the fact that if you don't have something to allow you to keep your hand, you will end up discarding everything. So I understand why it's priced very low, but it is a useful board wipe. Sorry, a lot of talking. But yeah, you want to be careful. Like when you cast this spell, you would want to do it when you have can either like do a lot of damage to your opponent when it comes to like their board state or hand, or when you know you can keep all your cards in hand. So yeah, I mean, pricing wise, not bad. Mainly because like many people don't wouldn't run a board wipe depending on their colors. Because I mean, if you don't have the proper colors for a board, in order to put a board wipe spell into your deck, it's just like, what's the point of having it? And unless you can craft a deck that utilizes the colors of a board with with the board wipe. Sorry. Whew, excuse me. All right, and then the last the last rare right now, overcharged amalgam. All right, overcharged amalgam. 2 blue creature zombie horror 3/3. Flash flying exploit. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may sacrifice a creature. All right. When overcharged amalgam exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability. Uh, sorry, let me reread that. When overcharged amalgam exploits a creature, counter target spell, activated ability, or triggered ability. All right. So pretty much, this is you would want him down to counter like a board wipe or a very powerful spell like ultimatum, like emergent ultimatum. So I mean, like, yeah, it's a flash, but you can cast this instant speed, but you would have to sacrifice your creature. If you have like a token that you could get multiple copies, multiple tokens, you could just sacrifice one of the tokens and exploit because it's not specifically saying exploit a non-token creature, so it will be very useful when it comes to like trying to counter a spell or a build activated ability or triggered ability like it says, and then you can use it as a chunk blocker. Oop. Alright, I'll just add the M at the end. Amal amalgam. Alright. Fought pretty much 437 and then for its normal and then 842 for its extended. Pricing not surprised, mainly because like you pick and choose your moments with this card, and then if you have to sacrifice a creature in order to counter, it becomes like a spell that because if you cast it and you only have good creatures that you need on the battlefield or want to have, it's like, okay, what now? What seems useless to me? That type of thing. But yeah, pricing not surprised it's around like the $5 range for its normal. Because I mean, as you can see, as low as $5 right here. So I will be I would like to see where its price falls after like a month or so of Crimson Vow, ending up out as. But that would be like a personal thing for me. I wouldn't record it. But yeah, uh, that will that'll be it. That is the last rare of within the blue column. Uh, Friday, I'll be going over the black column. So thank you all for clicking on the video, and I hope you do like it. And if you're new to the channel again, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, and I'll see you guys Friday. Bye.